Hey guys, welcome back to YPW, the home of all things professional wrestling. Make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. If you're already subscribed to the channel, make sure you turn on notifications as we are releasing new videos. From his debut in NXT to his arrival in WWE and the standard he set since, join me as I show you the story of Seth Rollins. One of the goals of many major wrestling brands is to create stars that can hold the brand to a certain standard, as well as propelling it to the next level when the time is right. Over the last many years, few superstars in the WWE have been as consistent and worth of being called the man more than Seth Rollins. Kobe Lopez was born on May 28, 1986 in Buffalo, Iowa. He is of Armenian, German, and Irish descent. His surname, Lopez, comes from his Mexican-American stepfather, who is also the father of his older brother, Brandon, as seen in WWE 24. He graduated from Davenport West High School in 2004. As a teenager, he was an introvert and a big fan of rock and heavy metal music, who lived a straight-edge lifestyle. Rollins trained at a wrestling school owned by Danny Daniels on the border of Chicago and Oak Park, Illinois. Lopez made his debut in 2005, wrestling in the Iowa independent scene under the ring name Jix. He then joined Ian Rutan's Independent Wrestling Association Mid-South, IWA, under the name Tyler Black, a name he could continue to use throughout the rest of his indie career. And through that indie time, he made waves in the community in the right way, and promotions started to take notice of him, including Pro Wrestling Guerrilla and Ring of Honor. At the Ring of Honor pay-per-view taping of Man Up in September 2007, Black made his debut alongside Jimmy Jacobs and Necro Butcher, with the three attacking the Briscoe brothers and hanging Jay Briscoe from light rigging, fashion and a noose. The three formed a stable called the Age of the Fall. The angle was so controversial that ROH decided to remove the footage from the pay-per-view that was being taped at the event. Black later made his ROH in-ring debut later that night in a dark match, wrestling Jack Evans to a no contest. At this time in ROH, Rollins continued to impress, including getting the Ring of Honor Tag Team titles 2 times and challenging for the ROH World title multiple times. After a short break for healing a neck injury, Black came back to Ring of Honor, won the Survival of the Fittest tournament, and had 2 bouts with Austin Aries to eventually win the Ring of Honor title, his first major singles title win. He defended the title 7 times successfully and had a 210-day reign as champion. And when he was done, it was time to head to the biggest promotion of all, WWE, or at least part of WWE. On August 8, 2010, Lopez signed a developmental contract with WWE and was signed to their developmental territory, Florida Championship Wrestling, FCW, in September. For those who don't know, the developmental territories are exactly what they sound like. They are places that the talent goes to in order to broaden their skills and talents and make themselves ready for the big time of WWE. Many talents use the developmental territories to enhance their gimmicks or styles to ensure that they resonate with the crowd in one way or another. It was in this territory that Tyler Black became Seth Rollins. There were a lot of future big names in FCW when Rollins arrived, including a future friend and rival in Dean Ambrose. But things were changing at WWE, as they were going to make a brand new developmental brand that would change the world. They just didn't know it yet. NXT had been on WWE for a while, but it wasn't what it was now. It was a competition show for younger talent. WWE decided they could do a better thing with it, and decided to make it their own third brand and air it on their new WWE network. In the Gold Rush tournament, Seth Rollins won the whole thing to become the first NXT World Champion, a big sign of things to come. Rollins would eventually lose the title, but it didn't weigh him down. Rather, it just set him up for one of his biggest moments ever. On November 18, 2012, at the Survivor Series pay-per-view event, which is one of the biggest events that WWE does in their year of shows, Seth Rollins debuted on the main roster alongside big prospects Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. These 3 guys weren't in a match though. They came to cause havoc, dressed in black tactical gear. They assaulted the wrestler known as Ryback and allowed then-champion CM Punk to retain his WWE Championship. At the time, no one knew what was going on, fan-wise we mean, but they were more than happy to reveal themselves as the Shield, or as Roman liked to call them, the Hounds of Justice. This heel faction spent the next 2 years dominating the WWE as one of the biggest factions in recent memory. They would come out of nowhere, do the dirty work for some of the biggest heels in the business, and when they did go and do actual matches, they would just destroy everyone, including their first big match at the Tables, Ladders, and Chairs pay-per-view, where they destroyed 3 big names in Kane, Daniel Bryan, and Ryback. They had big, intense matches. They defeated legends. They got the tag team and United States championships. Roman was a tag team champion with Seth, while Dean had the US title for a very long reign, and they showed the world that this was their yard. They had many battles during their initial heel run, and that made it all the more shocking when they suddenly turned babyface, all without doing much to change what they did in the ring. This was one of the few times that a heel-to-face change worked for the better. The crowd loved the Shield as babyfaces, and their merch sold through the roof. Their new turn against the authority of Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, and others led to them getting into a war with another legendary faction in Evolution, led by Triple H. But despite Evolution's best efforts, the Shield was too strong for them, and after some epic 6-man tag matches, Rollins, and Ambrose seemed unstoppable. But as is WWE's nature, they know not to milk a thing too long. And yeah, a couple years is a long time. But they could have milked this forever, a sign of things to come. And so they decided to have Seth Rollins turn traitor, break up the Shield, and catapult all 3 men into single competition status. Seth was now the poster boy of the authority, and got treated as such. They gave him bodyguards via J&J Security, and even have Kane secure him wins at times, like when he won the Money in the Bank contract. For basically a year, Rollins was the top heel of the brand. Everything he did antagonized the crowd, which was good in this case, and it led to many shocking moments, including a heated feud with Dean Ambrose, Randy Orton, and then at WrestleMania 31, Rollins cashed in his Money in the Bank contract on champion Brock Lesnar and challenger Roman Reigns to steal the belt in the main event of the show, shocking the show and getting his first singles belt on the main brand. His heel run only grew through this, and got more big matches with Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, John Cena, and even legend Sting. At one point, Rollins even held the WWE and United States championships at the same time, which was a first for the company. Despite his impressive reign, it wasn't to end well, as Rollins suffered a legitimate injury at a house show in Ireland, and it was so bad he would be out for many months, and thus he had to surrender the WWE title. Rollins would return from injury and reignite his feud with Roman Reigns, even beating him for the WWE title before losing it to Dean Ambrose via the Money in the Bank contract. More wars with the former Shield trio ensued, but slowly Seth started to turn against the authority. This led to a series of intense events that would eventually go to WrestleMania, where Seth beat Triple H in a non-sanctioned match. After being a face again, WWE decided it would be a good idea to go and reunite the Shield for the first time in about 5 years. It started off with Seth and Dean being champs via the tag team titles, the first time they would win them together. After Ambrose got a legit injury, Seth would go on to be the Intercontinental Champion and would defend it for quite a long time, earning a lot of praise from fans and critics for the performance he was putting in. Not the least of which was because at this time, the main title was held by Brock Lesnar, who only sporadically defended his title, and thus many looked to Rollins to be the beacon of light on Raw when the main champ wasn't there. This would inevitably lead to a series of matches with Brock Lesnar for the Universal title, including one at WrestleMania where Rollins won in stunning fashion, and even when Brock would all but cheat to win it back via the Money in the Bank contract, Rollins fought back and got the championship from him once more. His new run as champ would last for only a little while, as he would go on to face The Fiend, and their feud would birth one of the most controversial matches in WWE history via the Cell match for the title, where a referee stoppage ended the fight in Rollins' favor, which should have been impossible for a kayfabe cage match. Eventually, he would lose the title to Wyatt, and from that point on, heel Rollins was back, and fans were glad for a while. You see, many fans had noted that Rollins always worked better as a heel than a face, with a few exceptions. But the problem that WWE sometimes has is that they are more inclined to go with what works then dare to try something new. And eventually, that meant going to Seth Rollins for more times than not. At points, it was fine, like when he was the Intercontinental Champion and held down Raw, or the first time they did the Shield reunion. But recently, he's been the focus of many storylines that basically drawn out the potential for other superstars. He now calls himself the Monday Night Messiah, and was given the tag team titles with superstar Buddy Murphy, despite the fact that they had never had a single tag team match together. This rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and even though they lost the title in the recent Raw, Seth continues to be a focal point of Raw, despite plenty of other talent being there to be used. And this says nothing of Rollins' social media, where he acted like a child in regards to how he treats fans and other wrestlers. In one case, he attacked Will Ospreay, who is regarded as one of the best wrestlers in the entire world, and said that, quote, "We already have one of you. His name is Ricochet," end quote. Which was dumb to say because Ricochet and Ospreay are good friends and even train together. He also called Ospreay a little guy, which is inaccurate, and thus Ospreay made a best-selling shirt off of those comments. So Rollins is so antsy at times that he even deleted the Twitter account that he had, so that he could just be done with it all, and then got it back later. The future of Seth Rollins is very much up for debate. How will it go from here? Who knows? But one thing is for sure, WWE has his back, for better or for worse. So what do you think? What do you think of the story of Seth Rollins? Do you know that he has had a good run in WWE? Or do you think they've tried to push him too far, and that they should pull back? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and thank you for watching YPW, the channel dedicated to all things wrestling. If you like this video, make sure you check out some of our other videos, and to be notified when we release new videos, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Until next time.